Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to be going over the app Quantiloop. It's, in my opinion, probably one of the best loopers out there. There's so many ways that you can configure this. It's an app for the iPad or iPhone. The only one that is similar that I've seen that has the amount of stuff that you can customize here, in my experience, is the RC300 by Boss, which is over $500. This is a $20 app, and it works fantastic. The thing about this is that almost everything is customizable in this app. It's almost overwhelming, and if I went over every single setting, this video would be an hour long. So I'm going to go over the main parts of this just to show you how customizable it is and then let you kind of figure out the rest on your own to apply to whatever you need. So first of all, you have a 4-track looper, which is really nice. Most of the time you either have 1, 2, or sometimes 3. Having the 4th one is actually really convenient. So it's pretty simple. You hit the track that you want to record on. Red is recording, orange is overdubbing, yellow is playing. So 1, 2, yeah. 1, 2, yeah. 1, so now it's yellow, so it's just playing. 1, 2, yeah. 1, 2, yeah. Overdubbing. 1, 2, yeah. Overdubbing. 1, 2, yeah. Worst loop ever, but that's apparently how I'm going to demo this thing. But I mean, you understand the idea of looping, I'm assuming, by watching this video. If not, this is still a great app to start with. This isn't really a video on how to loop and stuff like that. I'm assuming that you already know how to do general looping stuff. So, I mean, it's very basic, and then you can clear the track, and you have 4 different loopers in here. And what's cool about this is you can label them. So see how I have it labeled as drums and harmonics, verse, chorus. I can remember how to loop this a little bit. And the thing that's also really cool about this is see how I have this set so that the drums are 2 bars, verse is 2 bars, chorus is 2 bars in this one. Let's load another track like Folsom Prison where drums are only 1 bar, bass is 12, and guitar is 12. Let's do Bad Touch. Drums are 1, verse is 4, chorus is 4. Really cool, all the options that you have in here. And if you look up here, the tempo is actually set for every song. So if you hit this rhythm button, it gives you a metronome. And you can see on this one, you can pan it whichever direction that you want. So if you want it, so I have it panned all the way to the right, which goes just to me into my headphones and my in-ears. And then the left actually is what gets all my looping. So I can play to the click and no one will actually hear that I'm playing to a click. It's pretty cool. So yeah, if I load another song, Folsom Prison is at 111. No Diggity's at 89. So on and so forth. So all of these ones I can save as to whatever length I want and whatever tempo I want. Everything's very customizable. So I'm going to go over the most important things, at least in my opinion. So I'm just going to load one of my songs. So the most important thing is this dub mode button right here. So in dub mode on, record, and then it overdubs the next time around. Tap it again, it goes to play mode. Tap it again, and it'll start overdubbing again. Double tap it, and it stops it. Double tapping to stop is kind of annoying. So when you turn off dub mode, now it's just play and stop. So going through here, you have your start, stop everything, and you hold to clear. You have your rhythm right here, so you can turn on the click. Turn it off or on. You can set your tempo here. So this one's set to whatever speed you want. It can do Ableton link, which I haven't even messed with, but that's pretty crazy. You can change a time signature. You can change the sound of it. You can start on play. My favorite is start on record with a count in. So it gives me a 4-measure count in before I start, which is really nice. Stop after record. So if you want to just record the first loop and then not hear the click again, you can do that. You can also stop it on global stop. So when you hit stop everything, it stops the metronome. Pretty convenient, everything that you can do. This also works with Beat Buddy if you use that. You can change the sound to a plugin. I've never really done that. It's always been fine to me. And again, you have your control over your panning. So I have this connected to an iRig Duo, which has 2 ins and 2 outs. So the right side I send to my in-ears, and then the left side, which actually has all the looping just in the center, and that goes to front of house, so they don't hear the click track going. You also have volume control over how loud or how quiet you want it to be. Really cool. So again, like I mentioned, you can save every song and every configuration for every song. So these are songs that I do using this setup, and these are the configurations that I do for them. Pretty cool. The way that you edit these on any of the tracks, you see that you have the edit button on all 4 of them. You hit edit, and you can set the length of how long you want to record. Do you want it just to be manual, just go until you say you're done? Do you want it to be 1 bar, 2 bars, 4 bars? But you can also change it to 3, 5, or some odd numbers. But these are just the more common ones. You can name the tracks, which is really nice. It's just a reminder of, okay, this is where the loops are. So my drums are on here if I want to stop the drums. Song part is really cool. So let me get to a song where I do that. So on my loop of For What It's Worth, which I have a video if you want to check that out, the verse and the chorus never play at the same time. The verse is one progression and the chorus is another progression. So what happens is when I'm recording, so let me just do a quick recording. This is the verse. Yay. This is the verse. Yay. And I'm going to record the chorus. Now this is the chorus. This is the chorus. So those two will never play at the same time. However, when I record the drums over here, dum, 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 dum. I'm not a beatboxer, so. This is the verse. Now I switch to chorus. It switches over to the chorus. So it's never going to play the two parts at once. So if I loaded something like Knocking on Heaven's Door, I have the drums and then the bass, which are going during the verses, and then the chorus, I had like, you know, some kind of keyboard type of stuff to make it sound a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit more distorted guitar. So now these will all play whenever I want them to. So if I want the drums and bass to be playing, I can have those play at the same time. When I want to add the chorus, I can play that at the same time. If I want just bass in the chorus stuff, I can turn off the drums. But that's what's really cool about this song part. So you see this one is currently set to all parts, so they can just play whenever. This one is set to part B, and this one is set to part C. You can set it to part A and part B. I've always used C as chorus. That's just how I've done it, so that's why I set it to part C. So a really cool way to do verses and chorus for looping. The one-shot track, you can see the description down there. I don't really ever use that. You can set the tempo sync to set and follow, and it gives you, again, it's really well laid out and it explains what each of these do. So I usually do that on normal. And now these are really cool. The play quantize, all your settings. So in the phrase right here, you can set when do you want your stop. This is, then again, this is more of your global settings for this. So when do you want it to stop? Do you want it to stop at the loop end, or do you want it to stop instantly when you're done? However, in here, if you want to change that, stop mode, is it set to global, or do you want to change it? Do you want it to always be instant on this one, or at loop end, or just whatever your normal settings are? So dub after record, on this one, I have it set to on. Because specifically when I record this song, I lay down the verse bass and then I instantly lay down the next part. So I want the dub on. On the chorus, I don't have that on. I have dub after record to global, which is currently off. I can turn it on here if I want to, but I don't always want that necessarily. Makes sense? Do you see how customizable it is? If I'm going too fast through this, I mean, you still have your question mark thing here so you can understand what everything's doing. I'm just kind of trying to show you how I use this. And there's so many different ways that you can use it. So on each individual track, you can name it. You can pan it as well if you need to. You can also turn up the volume or down the volume, even while you're recording if you want to turn down a part just for a little bit or something. So again, you have your dub mode here. You have your start and stop all, which again, I usually assign to button 4 over here. You have your rhythm on and off, which is convenient. You have your input effects and your track effects. And you can assign these to whatever you want. So you hold it. I'm just going to remove this. So you can choose one of the built-in effects. So you can use the transpose, the gate, a looper, bypass. But you can also load different apps. So I actually load bias effects, and I can load it up. And you can see this is my bass setting. So when I need my bass, turn that on, and now it's transposed my guitar down an octave so I can record bass. Really cool. The other one I have is a compressor, and then I have like this reverb kind of delay thing. But again, you can set all of these different parameters and different effects in here. Here, you have the track effects, and you have more options actually. So I'm going to remove this. The built-in ones, they have the mute audio, fade in or fade out, tap, stop, reverse, half speed, stuff like that. I use fade in and fade out. So if I want the song to fade out as like I'm soloing or something, I can turn that on or turn it off. Here's just, and I don't really use any of the other ones, but again, you can use different apps that you have on your iPad. Super useful. So going down here, it gets even more advanced. So the MIDI in, you can enable MIDI controls or just turn it off completely. You can connect to your MIDI devices here. So like I have my Rolly keyboard, I can connect to that right here, or my ACPad. You can set the MIDI channel. I have it set to MIDI channel 6. MIDI controller assignments. So I actually use the AirTouch 6-button pedal, and I have that assigned so that CC22 will start track 1, or, you know, record, play, or dub, depending on the mode that I'm in. CC21 is for track 2, CC22 is for track 3. 24 will turn on input 1, effect 1, so that turns on and off my bass. Let me go back to where I am. But again, you can change any of these. So say I want to change this. You can say note on, note off, CC. I mean, if you don't know MIDI, this will be way over your head. But MIDI CC24, momentary or latching, which is latching in most situations. What action do I want to do? And I can do any of these actions. And again, if you use Beat Buddy, this thing is great with that. You can change the input gain, the track effects, loop decay. I mean, so many different things that you can do with this. It's really crazy how much stuff you can do with MIDI on this. So the way I have it set is I have, with my 6 buttons, I have track 1, 2, or 3. The last button is global start and stop. I turn on and off dub mode, or I turn on and off my bass. That's how I have it set up. So again, now here's something else that's really crazy, is this input right here. This is, I mean, the routing of this is just insane. So you have 4 inputs that you can get in here. And again, that depends on what interface you use. So I use the iRig Duo, so I only get 2 inputs. And let me go ahead and reset this. And you can see it was actually picking up my voice. So on input 1, where do I want it to come from? Physical input, mic mono. So that's just picking up the mic. When I plug in my iRig, it'll say iRig, you know, at channel 1 or channel 2 or whatever. You can also load an effect onto that channel. So these are some effects like the Vocal Live one and the Easy Voice one. I can put a reverb from that app on to input 1. Really crazy. Now let's do input 2. And I'm going to set this, instead of being a physical input, I'm going to set it to my Rolly app. So now my Rolly keyboard is what will go into input 2. And I can also put effects on here. Really crazy. So I can use MIDI apps as my input 2 or input 3 or input 4, which would be more likely how I would use this, since I only have 2 physical inputs. So now with each one, you can pan. Which way do you want them to go if you use stereo stuff? You can change the volume of it. Right here. This is my favorite one. You can say, you have your 4 loops right here. So you can say this input will only track to number 1. So if drums are always number 1, if I have like my SPDSX plugged in or something like that into input 1, that is the only thing that track 1 will listen to. So it really helps with not getting crosstalk. And say if my voice was in input 2, it would only record onto track 2. Really crazy. Like I said, all the routing that you can do in here is really unbelievable. And then something else that you can do with this is you can actually just use this app as just a backing track. So you can record, you can have everything already recorded in here, and then you sing or play guitar or whatever instrument you do over it. But then it doesn't keep you, you know, if you play to a backing track, your song is 3 minutes long, you have to play the 3 minutes. That's it. But say you wanted the intro to repeat a bunch, and then you talk to the crowd over it. You can let the intro vamp over and over and over and over again. Or you get to the solo and you're like, oh, I feel like improvising a little bit longer of a solo. You can do that with this. So you would just let the solo repeat over and over and over again. And when you're ready to switch it back into the chorus, then you can do that. It's super convenient. So that's basically it. Again, I went over kind of the ways that I do it. It was maybe a little bit chaotic of the way that I went over it, but there's just so much that you can do with this. I would definitely recommend looking into it. You can get it for free and get limited features, or you can pay $20 to have the full version. I definitely think it's worth it. For stuff, I definitely recommend having a MIDI foot switch. Like I use the AirTurn BT6, which is super cool. You get 6 buttons for it. I definitely recommend that one. It does take a little bit to set up, so I would understand how to use MIDI. Or you can get something like the Blue Board or something like that, but I think the AirTurn is a really good one for this one. For gear, as far as getting into this, I like my iRig Duo because it has 2 ins and 2 outs. It works really well. You could use something like a digital mixer that has a USB, like the Behringer XR series. But again, this thing is just so versatile. It's probably one of the best loopers that I've used. So hope it helped you guys out. If you guys know any other awesome loopers, physical units, or apps, I'm definitely curious to hear about it. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I do looping when I perform live, so check out my playlist of different live loops that I've done, and also check out some of the other apps that I've gone over of just cool music apps. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If there's any other apps that you guys want me to check out that are really cool, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what loopers you're using. I'm always interested in checking out what gear other people are using. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you next time.